This is the UC Hunting Properties Podcast, your home for all things recreational land. Our goal, to help you stand on your investment. Hey guys, welcome back to the UC Hunting Properties Podcast. This week finds us up in beautiful Maine. We're here with our homeboy, Spencer Wood. He's part of the big shot players in Maine. UC Lifestyle Properties of Maine, the powerhouse brother duo, Phil and Pete. Mm-hmm. You guys are awesome. You guys are huge proponents of what we're doing with UC Hunting Properties. Can't thank you enough for that. And welcoming back to the podcast, our boy Chris Van Gerpen, better known as Gerpsy, expert deer biologist, land manager extraordinaire. So this is cool because this is kind of we're going to do a multi-part approach to this podcast. We're going to spend some time with Spencer first, and then we're going to bring Phil and Pete on for kind of a part two. But this is neat because this is project 2 that UC Hunting Properties has been involved with. Chris was out here about a year ago now, right?
Like 2 almost. We've done 2 seasons worth of work on that property.
Is that already going into year 2, or this is year 2?
Yeah.
But Chris came out and worked with Spence on a different project, and we're not going to steal that thunder because that thing's went about as well as it could possibly go. So we're going to let that one ride, and that's going to be an entire podcast of itself with the landowner and Spencer and Gerpsy. So today we're going to talk about, number one, I want to talk about you, Spence, and we're going to have you introduce yourself in a second. But we're also going to talk about the project that brought us back out to Maine. And this one's a banger, man. We're pretty stoked about this. Excited to see the landowner's success and you develop it. So, sorry, that was a crazy long intro. But Spencer, just tell the listeners kind of, where you're slinging dirt. Let's talk a little bit about your background, obviously, to begin with. And then I want to dive into, really what makes you different. And I mean, I think we could talk all day. You're really, you're specializing and you're bringing kind of a touch of what we're doing in the Midwest to the Northeast, and we love that. So
totally.
Floor is yours, brother.
Thanks. Yeah, Spencer Wood, originally from New Hampshire, came up to Maine to play football. Really never left. Grew up on an old school colonial farm in New Hampshire, so was always kind of a part of the outdoor lifestyle for sure. My dad's a Delta, Mississippi guy, grew up farming and all that sort of stuff. So
and that's some primo stuff down there, man.
Yeah, that's the gold dirt.
Yeah, they kill some hammers in the Delta.
Yep, first deer that I ever shot was in the Delta. I think I was 10 years old, and it was a 10-pointer, and I've only replicated that once since. So
sure.
It was.
So football brought you up here, though.
Football brought me up here. Yep. And then after that, I pretty much just got the bug for Maine and really never left. Got a master's degree, started a company, and then transferred everything into going full into real estate and development and all that. And so far, so good.
And how'd you get hooked up with the McPhails? Like, what's the story?
The story is kind of a funny one. So I was at the gym one day trying to figure out what agency I was interviewing with agencies at the time, trying to figure out where my best fit was. And I was at the gym and walking on a treadmill or something, looked at, who's doing YouTube, like who's doing videos, in Maine, and just typed in Maine real estate. And it was this one other guy, and then United Country Lifestyle Properties of Maine. So I sat down, interviewed with Pete and Phil, and I think we shook hands that same day, and rest is history.
Just like that.
It was just like that.
You found your home.
It was the right, everything about it fit correct. And then because of my success, that, it's just that is all a part of it, being in the right spot.
But cool success story too, because I mean, you yourself, you're very active on the YouTube channel.
Yep.
For the firm, and most people I think would know you as the Real Estate Cowboy.
That's right.
And I loved that. That literally stuck out like a sore thumb to me right out of the gate. Because when I think of a cowboy, I damn sure don't think of Maine. But it is pretty awesome that that's your mantra or whatever up here, and it's very fitting.
Yeah. Tattoos people, that's for sure. They don't really forget the cowboy when they meet me. So they may not know my name.
Spence,
but
I think there's multiple things like the 3X hand that's obtusely large, especially when it's next to mine. But no, the hat and Spencer's kind of famous in the United Country world because There's a pretty cool story about you buying about a $3,000 custom cowboy hat at convention.
Yeah, well, it was for the kids, I think. You
can't remember, but it was for a good cause.
It's a great hat. Hey, I'll have it forever. That's for sure.
Oh no, that's
Between
awesome.
The cowboy hat and the dogs.
Yeah.
You're probably very famous.
Yeah. I mean, the dogs are more famous than I am. That's for sure. Everybody that calls asks how the dogs are doing before I do, and then again, they don't even know my name. They just call me Cowboy, but they know Chili and Stump, so it works out.
Two awesome English labs. And they don't really leave your side, man. They're like your compadres. Speaking of that,
they're right here right now. So yeah, they go everywhere with me. I mean, they're part of the experience of coming and buying property in Maine with me. You know, they're there every time, and that's that.
Cool.
Get that mic right.
Yeah.
We want to hear Gerpsy, damn it.
Yeah.
If I get too close, then they can hear me breathe, and they don't like to breathe. And there's a happy medium. I'm not mastered like you.
Turtle's a good audio editor guy. All things technology. Thank God.
God bless.
This would fail. All right, Spence. So I think we got you in Maine. Obviously, you're from down south, or grew up in that area. You came up to play some ball. You hooked up with McPhail's. Dive us into a little different direction, because like I said, my perspective is you're bringing a little of the Midwest deer management, land management concept up here, and it's not widespread here yet.
Yeah.
And it's almost shocking, because every time we're up here, I mean, the amount of just sheer habitat and topography you guys are working here. I mean, this literally, to me, looks like Canada. I mean, everywhere we go looks like where we bear hunt, and obviously we know what kind of critters are around there. So, Spence, walk us through that a little bit, because, I mean, I think you offer an experience to your clients, or even potential clients, that I got to think you're kind of a one-trick pony up here.
Yeah, trying to be. I mean, I grew up operating equipment my entire life, heavy equipment, excavators, that sort of stuff, and meeting all these guys out west and down south, and seeing the farms and the hunting and just the management style, and how the neighbors are interacting and managing their deer and other animals. It was something that we have been missing for a long time. We're still kind of pilgrims up here, shooting muskets whenever you can get a shot off, sort of thing. But so this is kind of a new concept for us. It seems like we don't see a lot of these kind of developed farms, but as things are getting bought up and posted and chopped up, people are getting kind of forced to find their own little ground instead of trying to find some public ground or
Let's take a second on that, because, I mean, Maine's unique. And, I mean, Gerps and I both spent a lot of time out west. Obviously, we're both Midwest guys. So we don't know anything different than, what you have. You post it, and I don't want to say you hoard it, but you're developing the farm with a bigger cause. Now, fast forward or come to Maine, literally by law, if your farm isn't posted, it's the equivalent of public hunting, right?
Yeah. You can, if it's not posted or painted, you can go in and hunt that piece and take advantage of the opportunities that are sitting on it. So it's starting, because we're a big state with not too many people. It's never really been a issue to find that ground to find your deer or whatever. But now things are just getting pushed a little bit further north. The farms are starting to get bought up and posted, and people are actually starting to try to manage deer, which is more or less a concept that we want to make mainstream within our agency, that we're here to start to finish.
Yeah. And you talk start to finish, I mean, the equipment you have, I mean, yeah, we're talking start to finish, it's food plots, trails, brush clearing. I'll kind of let you rattle down what you guys all have or offer, because, I mean, it's a lot.
Yeah. I mean, really, what I try to do is follow the pros' plans. So, we get these guys to come out and be the architects, and then, I just go and follow what we lay down on these maps in terms of trail systems or food plots, or just lemon trees up super high with a mulcher to make sure that those stands and stuff like that are hidden correctly, or have those shooting zones that we're looking for.
Yep.
But yeah, no, it's we got everything. We're ready to rock and roll for any sort of project that a landowner wants to take on, and if they're excited about trying to manage and develop a farm that is it going to produce, some high yield deer? I mean, that's what we're here to do.
And I think most guys that, are interested in the land management and developing, and they probably watched videos of, whether you're watching something that Vail put out, content related, but they've seen these forestry mulchers and the drum mulchers, and they get you're literally eating trees and creating a trail that's golf course worthy or whatever when it's done.
It's an awesome hobby.
Yeah.
It is an awesome hobby. So it's really a labor of love for me. I enjoy finding that right piece of property or getting a call from a property owner that's heard about us and has a vision for what they want to try to create for their family or for generations on. And to be a part of that, and then also be in the machine and making those paths and everything come true. Yeah, it's like, that's what I love it. So it's definitely big boy toy. That's right.
So Spence, I'm glad you talked about that. I mean, obviously you got a pretty heavy duty, track machine skid loader with your forestry drum or mulcher on it. I know you mentioned you have a fairly sizable excavator as well.
Yep, we got a 6-ton excavator that's low impact for landowners. We don't want anything that's going to really create a bunch of, ditches or kind of track everything up. So we try to do our best with, being low impact and keeping those trails as tight and, small and organized as we can. So it's a perfect machine to be able to really get in there, do the job, and come out with not having a bunch of mess, if you will, with larger, heavier machines and softer ground.
No, that's awesome. And I think what you have is picture perfect for a lot of the stuff we would recommend or do. We're going to take a second and dive into this property in Maine is exceptional. And I think, Phil said something yesterday that I don't even think about being from the Midwest because everything's basically a field, and we're almost in reverse where
everything's heavy timber.
Yeah, the default where we're at's ag ground, and then if you got the timber, or it's kind of a blend. You get out here, it's basically all heavy timber, and if you have a field, that's an exception.
Yep.
But Phil's client here, gentleman's name is Ken. He bought a farm. This is a 480 acre tract.
Yep.
And it already had some pretty awesome fields, and I think at one point, they were even, making the hay on it, or, they were in some level of ag.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's been neglected for a while, which is kind of why we're coming back in, but you can see that there's a lot of history of agriculture and farming out there, which is awesome. And typically for us, those just even a neglected field is a northeastern food plot for us.
Yeah.
No work, no effort.
Right.
But it's a field, so you get a shot off that's further than 10 yards.
Right. So this is a cool project. So Chris and I came up. Chris does this professionally all over the country, so this is kind of second nature to him. The hunting aspect, yes, very second nature to me, and that's why I love anytime he and I get to collaborate on a project like this. It's pretty awesome. But we're going to talk some specifics on this, Spence, because I think when this podcast goes up, Tyler's going to be able to overlay a map and truly speak to some of these areas. So jumping to the map, obviously it looks busy. There's a lot of stuff going on here. The one thing I would point out is as people are looking at this map, all the yellow is either a perimeter and or trail. And in every case, some of these exist, some of these don't exist. But Spence, you're going to go in and literally blow these trails out so the whole thing's usable or accessible, at least, via UTV, let's say.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, we're excited to check it out. The vegetation out there is actually great for us being able to have some really nice, clean trails. And having that perimeter there, I think we're almost 8+ miles worth of interior and exterior trails. So it's a lot, but when you get out there and you start, seeing the work kind of come to light, and I'll do that, it's really exciting, especially having you guys involved. I mean, I guess, stop for a second and say how cool of an agency that we have to be able to have these sort of partnerships to bring people in from around the country and use those discounts and the things that come with being partnered with UC Hunting Properties is very special compared to what anybody else may have, in this world.
Well, and it's value add stuff. I mean, I think we all kind of take it for granted because it's just part of our lifestyle. Yeah. It's inherent to what we're doing and being connected to some outdoor companies. But I do think, like Ken as an example, this is a guy that doesn't have that background, right? He's had his head down in a professional career for years, for eons, and he's gonna retire at the end of the year, and there is no doubt this is gonna become, you know, his playground and where he's gonna be able to entertain family and friends and whatnot. And one thing I was going to bring up, I'd mentioned, like, literally he's going to blow in a perimeter trail around the entire 480 acres. And, Chris, I think when you mapped this, you said you were at, like, 4.5-ish miles.
Just the circle.
Yeah,
just around the
edge. The perimeter. So, yeah, anyone watching this on YouTube, the yellow exterior line is this trail that's going to get created. And our concept was this. I mean, Ken had talked about, by and large, it'll be him and maybe another buddy or two, you know, archery hunting early. But when the gun season rolls in, he was talking about having at times 10 to 12 guys rolling on this place. So I brought up the concept to him, and I said, Ken, I said, you got to think about this when you're going to dispatch that many dudes on, and I don't mean to make light of 480 acres, but like that's still a lot of pressure. And I said, you know, you're going to have to hunt it from the outside in. And he kind of looked at me like, well, what do you mean? And I said, Ken, if we did this from the inside out, I said, I don't know that there'd be a critter left on the place by the time you guys just get to your stands. Yeah. And it was kind of
that's a deer drive in Iowa.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Your neighbors are going to love you. But it clicked with him right away, and he understood what we were saying, and I think that kind of elevated the, you know, banging in an exterior trail. So, yeah, conceptually speaking, they're going to be able to move around, use the wind on the exterior, and then any of the trail systems that per se Spence is going to blow in and create on this place, they're going to be able to sneak in from the outside with the wind in their favor, get set up, and hopefully be more successful. But extensive project, Spence. I mean, I think we covered the trail system pretty good. I'm going to actually zoom into a couple of these areas. I'm running the mouse. This is the main access into the farm. This little icon's actually going to be a new cabin Ken's planning on putting up here in the next year. There's an existing camp and pond just down from that. So the beauty here is he is going to be hunting close to the exterior. And you see all these apple trees. He's got apple trees all over this place. We're going to play to that with trail cameras, the food plots that Spence is going to be clearing and putting in. We're adding water features. So anywhere you see the water symbol, in some cases that may be, you know, a natural water hole. Yep. And others we're talking about putting in like a 250-gallon tank, partially hogged out, set in the ground. And we talked through, you guys typically would have enough moisture in the fall to probably keep them moving on their own. Mm-hmm. And we were coaching Ken through that. Like, dude, you may have to go dump, you know, 100, 200 gallons of water in these to get them started. Right. And then you should be golden. But lots of stuff going on in this farm. But, I mean, you can tell we're going to have a clover plot up here in conjunction with all these apple trees. Our goal with this one, and jump in anywhere, GURPS, but I mean, our goal is we wanted to give Ken some options for a quick hunt. In our opinion, this food plot is going to be kind of a viewing area right out of his new cabin. Yep. You know, this next little plot, this is the one he could run into, you know, kind of for a last-minute hunt. Yep. We got that same concept going up on, I'm going to zoom out here a little.
On the north end.
Yeah, we get to the north end, and this is a neat area, GURPSy. Talk us through this one, because this white line's a primary road that goes through the whole trail, but, I mean, there'll be a gate off this county road. Walk us through what that looks like, GURPSy, when you'd come in from the north end up here.
When you come in from the north end off the highway here, the white is an actual gravel road. That's where they logged everything. This farm's been logged 4 or 5 years ago. Yep. So your underbrush is really awesome. I mean, browse is everywhere. Great. Yeah, don't have to worry about creating that. And when you come in, the plot is just on the little top of a knoll, not very big. It's an existing logging road that they use that we're going to shape up and make a little nicer, put a little green clover plot on it.
Kind of a long, narrow plot. Yeah. And I guess if somebody is watching, they can see it right here. But that's this would represent approximately, what would you guys say, 60 to 100 yards in length or something?
Yeah. It's just something on that end, because otherwise the farm, everything right now is located around those middle fields in the middle.
Yep.
And we were just kind of wasting that whole north end.
Yeah, there's a lot of territory between here and what I would consider the primary food plots being pretty central to the place.
So he'll be able on that north end come in, park right behind the gate, not even have to unlock it.
Yeah.
Walk 100 and 150 yards up and around a little bit of a curve, so it's all hidden from the road. They probably won't even see his blind or tree stand sitting there. And just a very easy in, easy out, very low pressure on the vast majority of his farm. And as many of those locations as we can get somebody, we shoot for.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the term that you guys use, the micro plots. You know, like you got your big base down there, and then having these micro plots kind of scattered around that give him an opportunity to, you know, maybe leave the fields before everybody comes for rifle season or something like that. So he's not just stuck to a certain area. He's got so many options to go and jump in one of these, you know, micro plots and take advantage of something that's further away from a lot of the action.
Yeah, and you know, Ken's going to dispatch probably upwards of 10, 12 cameras on this property to truly understand how these deer are moving. And hell, Spence, when you get done, you know, blasting these trails in, it will change it, you know, and these critters are going to start using them, and he's going to be able to figure out, hey, the wind's blowing south today, this is where they're bedding, or this is how they're moving up to the food. And that's why these micro plots are like, you know, typically we call them kill plots. They're not really by design there to, you know, sustain the herd or get them through the winter. They're there to give that deer a reason to maybe get up a little earlier than he normally would, go get himself a little drink, get a little clover in his mouth.
Yep.
Because we know he's going to end up, you know, down eventually, or overnight, he's going to end up down in these big egg fields, you know, or destination food plots. But that was one area of the farm that I thought was pretty bang up.
Yeah.
And for a spot to slip in easy, and same thing, people are going to be able to see the trail system coming in so that he can always use the wind or put the wind in his favor coming in. I have a sneaking suspicion this is going to be a pretty legit spot, and I'm actually even going to zoom out a little so people can understand. These are big grass fields, open grass fields on the adjoining farm. But as you can see, this is the main ridge that runs in and connects to Ken. So we envision this being a pretty high traffic area, and same thing coming from this end and coming into the farm. That stand or blind, whatever ends up there, I have a feeling that's going to be a pretty high traffic area.
Yeah. No, it'll be fun to watch on camera and see how things start popping up and developing as, you know, we're making more progress with these trail systems and stuff, because it's been more than once where I've been out in the woods and seen a big deer following a tree that just recently came down. They're getting some buds off the ground.
Oh, absolutely.
So it should definitely spike the action on the property and give us a good idea where they're all coming from.
Nope, that's super cool. Well, Spence, we're excited to see this project come together, and I know if somebody's watching this, this map's busy. We got a lot of stuff going on. Gerpsy's been working on the map all morning, and every one of these icons means something, you know, and this is the love language we'll be speaking with Spence when he develops this thing as to where stuff needs to go and get it all tuned up and ready to rock.
Yeah, no, it's a big project. I'll probably have quite a few gray hairs by the time I get out of this one. This is gonna be a long one, but you know, I'm super excited, and Ken's a great guy, and the property has everything that you could ever want. I mean, views, fields, I mean, just so much potential, and seeing like the old farmstead that's there, foundations and things.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like we're recreating what used to be there, and we're going to give it a nice little 21st century kiss, which will be awesome.
Yeah, yep. Blend a little technology into this place. It's going to – and I overuse the term Mecca, but, I mean, I got to think he's for sure going to have the crown jewel within miles of this place.
Yep, which is, you know, that's what we're doing from a start to finish perspective with these properties is, you know, that's what's exciting about it, is because there's not a lot of competition from a herd management or just a property management perspective. So it'll be awesome to hopefully watch this property, you know, grow bring in the big boys, and then all of a sudden have everybody else wondering where they're going.
Yeah, and I think Ken's super lucky because I think he's starting with an exceptional farm.
Mm-hmm.
So, like,
Definitely is.
I think everyone wants to move a farm from, average to good. I would probably make the argument he's going to be able to go from good to great.
Yeah.
But you
like,
can't
real
change
quick.
the bones on a farm.
Right.
I mean, that bones or foundation, you have what you have.
Yep.
And so to be able to, it's easier to emphasize and make it better than create it.
Correct.
I mean, there's not many farms in Maine where you can say, yeah, I got 30 acres of open ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the middle of the woods.
In the middle, it's in the middle of his farm already.
grows things.
So those will be his destination. And when you can, it's already here. Right. I just have to plant something.
We got to groom it a little.
It's in the middle of my farm, and if it's in the middle, your deer got to be on your farm the longest, and you can hunt them from the outside in.
Yep.
And he'll have a great time.
Yeah, no, it's fun to look at. When we were walking around, it was like you could feel the excitement of the property. The property was like, I'm a hidden gem, and I'm ready for you guys to come do this for me and bring me back up. So it'll be fun to watch this grow and watch Ken take out some big boys on the property at some point for sure.
Yeah. So our approach is always, basically in phases. Spence, you'll be a huge part of those initial phases. And truthfully, long term, there's going to be a lot of maintenance involved. But I think people can see how we, in these larger destination fields, you'll see there's a green outline here. This is what we envision getting punched in there for, destination, potentially row crop at some point. But it's a multi-phase approach, and what I mean by that is Spencer's going to get in and start doing the work, and whether it's Spence or Phil, somebody's going to run out, and we're going to have them pull soil samples from each of these areas, and we're going to bring it those soil samples are going straight to Harper Growing Solutions. We're going to get the dirt nerd Brad involved, let him do his full analysis and come back to us with recommendations on, whether it's liquid lime, what we're doing about the pH or to get that up or balanced, and potentially even the mixes we're going to run here. I mean, I think we have a pretty good idea of where we want some screens.
Yep.
So anyway, all of that said, this is one I'm excited to get in front of Brad because I think he's going to be excited.
Yeah.
And a lot of what he works on is predicated to, more of the Northwoods hunting with him being in Michigan and you guys truly being more north of that. I mean, we're basically in Canada if you look at the map. I mean,
East Coast Alaska.
Yeah, it is East Coast Alaska, and it looks like it.
Yeah.
But this will be cool because I think he's going to have moose. Obviously, he's going to have a ton of bear. There's no doubt he's going to have turkeys. And his primary focus, of course, is going to be attracting, growing, and holding big whitetails.
Yeah, no, it's exciting, and again, even for me and a lot of us that are over here, those management styles that you guys have and that you are so accustomed to, just they're not really here yet. So for us to be on kind of like the front of it and making sure that we're taking the knowledge, experience, and expertise that you guys have and bringing you over here, making sure that we are developing these things at the best of our ability and making sure that these landowners are coming away with trophy properties.
Yeah, that's the goal. We're going to go from blank slate to turnkey on this one pretty sudden. Yeah.
Yep. Call it now. I think we're going to get a big one off this pretty soon.
He's already calling the shot.
Calling the shot. Calling the shot.
No pressure, Ken. Don't fail. Don't fail. Do your part, brother. No, that's great. But no, I wanted this one to be short and sweet because this is basically, in my mind, a teaser into this project. Spence, we appreciate your involvement. This is great. I mean, when you reached out last year, I thought, gosh, who knows what's going to happen over in the Northeast, but you guys might be onto something bigger than any of us understand right now because I think this could become the norm up here.
Yeah, no, that's what our goal is. And with UC Hunting Properties and Lifestyle Properties in Maine, I think we're positioned to be the top dog and make sure that everybody sees what we're doing. You
do everything definitely next level, and it shows up, and we appreciate you guys greatly. So we'll wrap this one up. Yep. Again, people, if you're not following the McPhails up here and you're not following the Real Estate Cowboy, you need to be. And if you ever want to see obtusely large hands, come shake Spencer's.
Thanks for having me on, guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we appreciate you. Take care, man.
Yes, sir.